Why did Muhammad went back to the First Testament instead of evolving? Because Jesus evolved, right? So he made laws.
Has he evolved fully? Do you know what he's going to do when he comes back again?
In the final judgment day.
Do you know what's he going to do? Anyone who doesn't accept him, he's going to kill them all. So has he really evolved? Not yet. When he evolves, it will be exactly like the Old Testament times.
But you agree, because your Quran says this, right? So we agree on this.
I want you to reflect properly in here. When Jesus returns, he will do exactly like in the Old Testament.
Right.
Anyone who doesn't believe in it, he will wipe them off from the face of the earth.
Because it's the judgment day, you know, it's the end of time, so that's it.
So why does he kill them all?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because there won't be any more life left on
So basically,
earth,
no. You don't have a problem with that. If God legislates and says, if you worship another God, you should be put to death. That's God's injunction.
I follow Jesus' teaching, so his apostle and everyone that converted wasn't by force.
Where is the teaching of Jesus around today?
In your Quran as well, there are some verses about him.
But Quran says, don't just take these verses partially, take the whole Quran. Ud'u fi silmi kaffa. Enter into Islam wholeheartedly. Don't just believe in part of it and reject the other. So if you're going to take the message of Isa...
I don't believe in killing, so he's against killing, right? He said, love your enemy. He was against killing or
hate. If someone came and murdered your family in front of you, may God forbid, and may God bless your family, give them long life.
No, I'm not saying
if that happened, someone came and murdered your family in front of you, would you love your enemy, those who did that?
I'm not saying it's easy to do this.
I'm simply asking, would you love your enemy?
Many Christians would kill that person.
Don't ask about it's easy or difficult. Would you love that enemy who did that?
Maybe
in fact,
not.
let me make it even more, with a bit of flavor in it. They rape your 3-year-old daughter and your mother in front of you and your wife, and they butcher them slice by slice, and they start eating them. May Allah forgive by even uttering such grievous examples, and may Allah protect all of our families from this. Your family and my family, including our enemies' families, if we have enemies. If you saw that happening, would you follow the teaching? Love your enemy. Would you love that enemy and say, I love you so much, here's my other daughter? What would you do?
Well, good question. First of all, you need to protect yourself, so you can defend yourself.
They already tied you up. You can't do anything. So would you then love your enemy when they do all this action in front of your eyes? They did this in Syria. They did this in many other Muslim countries. They are lynching people in India and so on and so forth in front of the public.
This is from the devil.
From the devil. Good. So when these devil people comes and do these evil acts, would you love them?
Maybe not. I don't think so.
You would not love them.
I'm not saying it's easy to do this.
You have to be out of this world to love them.
Of course I wouldn't love nobody.
Right. So you can see clearly, love your enemy. This teaching is misunderstood. It doesn't mean you let your enemy do everything. Loving your enemy, perhaps it means you pray for their guidance. Yeah? It doesn't mean you let them rampage and kill and massacre and rape and do all these things. That's not loving your enemy.
People kill today because
if they come, brother, if they come, my friend, listen. If they come to do that to your family, stand up as a man if you can, and die as a martyr protecting your family.
I agree on this. Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree on this. But there's war and killing today, and for anything, for oil, people kill each other, and for many other things. So I'm totally against killing. And
that's the whole idea of Islam too. Islam wants to make a peaceful community on earth, right? So there is no fighting. So those criminals want to destabilize this society, this community on earth. They are then given certain punishment and a deterrent for this punishment. That's where the punishment system comes in, so that people don't take their own hands and say, oh, I'm going to kill, I'm going to rape, I'm going to do all of that. This is where the Islamic law comes in, to protect the society.
And there's good laws in Islam. I'm not saying it's all bad. I just don't agree with some of your teachings. For example, when you say Muhammad is the perfect example, I totally disagree on this.
Perhaps you've misunderstood him. That's what I'm saying. You have been misled by these Islamophobic writings. If you go deep into
your teachings, I don't agree. Not from my...
No, what I'm suggesting, instead of taking this on the face value, all these writings and things that you see on the internet, go and study and research on the subject. You will find even the answers to these are already available on the internet from the Muslims. And you will see, weigh up the matter, and you will say, look, have they been telling me the truth? Or have I been deceived? Most of the time, it's a deception. You know, the right wing in this country or in Europe, they quote, oh, Islam says go and kill them wherever you find them. They take things out of context. Islam doesn't order us go and find and kill anyone who find them and besiege them.
So there is this verse, right? Go and kill them wherever you find them.
It doesn't have anything to do with me. It was a historical event where people betrayed, broke the treaty, they came in a state of war. In a state of war, it was then given them...
Why didn't he specify?
Listen, it's all there. First verse says, Bara'atun min Allah wa Rasul. Declaration from God and His Messenger that this treaty is unannulled because of what they have done. They've broken the treaty. Now they have this time period to roam on this earth, really. But after this time period, they have few options. Either accept Islam or leave. If we don't leave, then face the Islamic army. Why? Because you have broken the treaty of peace. But Islam continues by saying in this chapter, those who you had a treaty and they did not break it, fulfill it to the end of the term. That means what? There were various treaties with various groups of people. Those people who had a treaty for, say, 10 years, fulfill it for 10 years. Don't do anything to them. In a peaceful relationship, you live with them. Those treaty which is open-ended with no end, you continue to have this peaceful relationship with them. Only those who broke their treaty and they wanted to kill you and kill the Prophet and expel the Messenger, you fight them. But not only that, if they surrender, what do you do? Think about this and reflect on it. If they surrender, you do them no harm. You escort them. You know what escorting them means? You make it secure transportation to a place of security.
This is not correct. Well, actually, it's the opposite. From what I've read, it says if you're in a position of strength, don't seek peace. Only when you're inferior, you ask for peace.
You read it there.
Okay. Now,
can you show me this verse, please?
Exactly. So now let us expose those Islamophobes when they totally distort our scripture and mislead people by interpreting as they wish when text has nothing to do with it. Okay.
It's true, I can believe you. I'm not.
Look, if any of these polytheists seeks your protection, then grant him protection so that they may hear the word of God and then escort him to where he can be secure. That is because they are men who know not. You don't fight them or kill them. When they stop, you take them to a place of security where they can be safe.
What about this verse about when you're...
Don't pick up, what about this verse? This is the verse where it says go and fight them. Yeah? But look, from verse 1 in this chapter, freedom from all obligation, declared by Allah and His Messenger to those of whom you had made a treaty. So that means it is to do with a historical treaty that Muslims made. Did I make a treaty with a infidel today? Infidel, they say. I have not make no such treaty. It doesn't apply to me. It was a historical event when there was a treaty. But look, some exceptions, as I said. except those of the mushrikun with whom you have a treaty and who have not subsequently failed you in might, nor have supported anyone against you. So fulfill the treaty to them for the end of the term. Surely Allah loves the pious. So I've given you some verses within the first few verses of this chapter number 9, where people don't tell you that. People don't inform you about that. They mislead you by thinking Islam is all about kill the infidels wherever you find them. What a blatant distortion of Islam.
What you heard is a twisted version.
Yet people kill in the name like ISIS and all this. They find
Now,
verses
let's
that
talk
suit
about-
them.
ISIS aren't here in this book.
Anyone who does not follow Islam and Islamic teaching and kills an innocent person, is Islam to be blamed? Or the person who does that to be blamed? The person. We should take that person to the court and proper justice should be done.
What about
If
the
they need to be locked up for life, they should be locked up for life. If they need to be hanged or crucified or whatever, they should be done that in the eyes of the law as appropriate.
What about the KKK?
Pardon?
What about the KKK? To blame all Christians for killing? No. So why not have, when it comes to Islam, so all Muslims?
I'm not saying all Muslims do this.
This is it, ISIS.
I would stand next to you fighting those terrorists who kill innocent people, whoever they are. Whether they are Israeli terrorists, British terrorists, French terrorists, American terrorists, whoever. I will stand with you fighting against them in the court of law.
Do you agree with honor killing? Like, I've watched several testimonies from Muslims that flee from their
Islam doesn't
families.
allow honor killing. It's a culture that needs to be
Are you from Spanish Latin background? What are
from
you?
Romania.
We are Latin culture.
When there are honor killings, we need to really wake up the society and saying, where do you get that from? Has nothing to do with Islam.
Spanish and
Spanish Empire was there.
I agree. The Catholics did many wrong things in the name of faith, supposedly. So I'm Orthodox, so we are totally against this. We don't believe in killing, and we believe faith is by choice. We shouldn't force nobody.
From people who don't like Islam, they're telling you twisted versions of. He's telling you the correct version.
This is the problem of the social media. Social media can guide us as well as mislead us. There are a lot of people today in the business of misleading. Think about those ex-Muslims. When they left Islam, are they happy with their life and living their life as whoever they are, socialists, Darwinists, whatever? No. They present themselves as ex-Muslims. They spend all their life, hundreds of hours a week, talking about Islam, spreading all this falsehood and distortions. Why?
They have a
You see?
personal hatred.
So this is what's happening. We have a body or a group of people, they have a personal vendetta, a personal agenda against Islam. Because somehow they didn't like something. Imagine now a vegetarian starting their personal fight against all people who eat animals. That's exactly what's happening. Some people have personal issues and now they're doing that. And because of the social media, they have a lot of following. Because this kind of thing sounds quite well to people of free thinkers, people who consider themselves, I'm a rationalist, I'm a secularist, I'm an individual who doesn't want to be bound by religious perceptions.
In Romania, they hate the Turkish Islamic history.
That's why, so that is why we are seeing a lot of this miscommunication, misinformation. You as an individual should check and validate. Some of the examples you mentioned, it's easy to do yourself, without even knowing Arabic, to check and say, this is a propaganda against Islam. This is one of the reasons, I can tell you with utmost confidence, when woman in this country becomes a Muslim, British educated woman, when they were given this lie, Islam oppresses women, suppresses women, subjugates women, guess what? These people, educated women, they looked into it, and it opened up their minds and they accepted Islam. So majority of the people in this country who become Muslim are not men,
Maybe they
are
don't know
women.
all the law.
For that
What
reason.
about this law that if a woman gets raped, she needs to have 4 witnesses?
That cannot be right.
But it's
That cannot be right.
or two witnesses or something.
There might be certain countries which have done that for whatever reason.
So it's not in Quran or Hadith.
If someone's raped, come on, where can she find witnesses?
Exactly.
Yeah, that is why the judge has to decide whether she's faking it or it's real.
So it's not an Islamic.
No, I'm telling you, look, this issue is not a simple issue. Women in this country or elsewhere, freedom of liberty, they sleep around man or woman as they like, they consent. Sometimes when they don't like it, they can fake it and say, this man did not have my consent. Now, how is the judge going to decide? Tell me. She's sleeping around with her own consent. And then at one point she says, no, he raped me. Tell me, how is the judge going to decide? It's a huge problem. Because she has to take the words or some video evidence or whatever. Otherwise it's very difficult. If there's no video evidence, how is that going to be determined? Is this a rape or is it a mutual consent? Whose word is the judge going to follow? The woman could easily say, he raped me. In fact, this has been happening to many of our scholars. They accused the scholars to tarnish their character, and they accused Islam that it's
to destroy them.
To destroy them. They did that. And the French society, others, they're having a huge problem into how to actually,
And then people like you hear the negative side.
Yeah. So we're saying in Islam, when it comes to rape,
They start
it
believing.
is the responsibility of a wise, competent judge to determine whether what it was a rape or not. Based on that, he will pass judgments. So it's not a simple issue. It's not a simple issue.
Don't be upset.
There's positive things in this. I'm not saying it's all is bad.
Yeah, look, they are bad Muslims because they don't act on Islam. But Islam is what you should be seeking, not Muslims. If Muslims are bad, they need to be good to represent Islam.
When you say Muhammad was a perfect example, this is my main problem. When you say he's
Read about him. Read about him. This man, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, at the age of 25 when he got married to someone 15 years older than him, and lasted his marriage until she passed away, all his life. Yeah? Happy life, all his children. From his, look, someone older than,
there's 10 wives.
look. After she died. What? No other wife until she died. This marriage.
What about Aisha and the rest?
I need you to focus. This particular man, individual, is then accused of pedophilia. Not knowing what pedophilia is.
Don't agree.
By Western Muslim haters.
Many of the women.
But do you agree with?
Do you know that? Do you know many?
So, can I marry your daughter when she's 9 or 6? Sorry.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't
it's
let
not
me,
today's
right?
practice.
It's not what the Prophet recommended. The Quran recommended.
So then it's not the perfect example of life.
Look.
The life he led, right?
If the Prophet of God,
He did mistakes, let's agree.
Wait.
Prophets did mistakes, even in my belief.
No. I would disagree with you here. Let's differentiate between Prophet's personal actions, choice, duties and responsibilities, as well compared to the responsibilities that he's given us to do and follow. For example, if the Prophet didn't like garlic, for example, did he impose that on the believers? No one should eat garlic? No. That may be his personal choice. If God instituted several marriages for political, social reasons to bring communities together. In fact, many of their marriages, the women were widowed, divorcee, elderly, to bring communities together for social reasons. They wanted to get this. Some marriage where there was a Jewish woman. Marrying this woman brought Muslim and the Jewish community together. Fighting stopped, now in peace and harmony. These were given to the Prophet for his own responsibility. The Prophet could marry more than 4. I can't marry more than 4. No Muslim can marry more than 4 at once. Our responsibilities in terms of marriage in a different legislation. Prophet ﷺ personally commanded to wake up at night and pray tahajjud. Obligatory on him, not obligatory on the Muslims. Do you see
you believe all the laws came from God?
No. Do you see that? No, do you see that? There are certain things only for himself.
Exactly, because he had so many privileges. It makes you wonder if they come from God or...
If God makes him pray at night as an obligation.
That's not a privilege.
Okay, no, that's not a privilege. Okay,
it's difficult. That's what I mean, you know.
Okay. What about the law that he said every woman can give herself to the Prophet?
Which law is that? Everyone.
There is in Islamic text.
If women want to
and when
become,
women came to have sex with him,
No, it wasn't like that.
some ugly woman came and offered
These
themselves
are
for such
haters.
woman, and then the next day he came up. Okay,
I smell
so if
Islamophobic writing again.
if I find this, what will it do?
Look. I have seen this. I have read this. I have been dealing with this for more than 2 decades.
Some of them have abrogated.
More than 2 decades. Right? I've seen them. This is nothing new. Islamophobics, when they're writing, is nothing new. I'm yet to find something that brings something new, right? When something is new, I'm more than happy to research it.
I'm not Islamophobe. I guess
No, I'm not saying you.
Particular person.
You have been misled. So when you raise the issues of marriage of Safiya, you may raise the issues of marriage of Zainab, you may raise the issues of marriage with Maryam, the Qibti. All of this, in fact, I don't have to tell you anything, the answers are there on the internet. Adequate responses to them. Totally removing this tarnish that they have put on the character of the Prophet and remove that blemish they put on. Our Prophet ﷺ is free from all these things that they put on. You just need to look deep into it rather than taking it for granted whatever they say. Look,
my problem is that you will never accept that he did anything wrong. You know, this is my issue. I accept.
How can I accept that he did something wrong when in principle he would not do? When practically from history and from evidence he did not. So why am I going to force myself and say no, he did something wrong? Because some Islamophobe wants him to do some mistakes. Why? If you can provide valid evidence, I would say you've got a point.
First of all, the marriage with Aisha was wrong. Even if it wasn't, if you knew the consequences that...
So marrying someone who becomes an adult is wrong.
So he should know that it would be so controversial, like 1,000 years later.
Sorry, married with someone offered by the father of the bride, who became an adult, you're saying it's wrong.
And she was one of the best women. You need to understand that. She was one of the 4 who
Did
turned
she
out to be one
complain?
of the best women in
Can I ask
Islam,
you one thing?
You know?
When you say women are subjugated, okay, I'm going to ask you a
This is wrong and will always be wrong, no matter the society.
I'm going to ask you a very important question now. When people say women are subjugated, women are oppressed, should you ask the woman, are you oppressed or subjugated? Or are you going to ask men that question? I would ask the woman. What does she think? Likewise, wait, likewise, when she became elder, she didn't die at the age of 9. Right? Good. So, when she became adult in your thinking, when she becomes adult, in your age, for example, did she ever complain about the Prophet?
Could she have complained?
Sorry.
It's not like London 2019.
It is very important. Listen, it's very important. She even fought battles with other companions. That's how strong she was. So she could complain if there was a need to complain. Did she complain anything about the Prophet? Ever? Did she say the Prophet mistreated her?
Maybe she was afraid of him.
The Prophet passed away.
She carried on his work after it.
After he passed away, she continually transmitted the message of the Prophet.
And his father was
Always in the good,
And his father was
best manner, praised manner. Why do we not find any complaint from her?
Maybe she believed that was the way to be.
You see,
Because it's not true. You know, all your life.
Now it's like saying, you know what? Yours stance is like this.
There are some cannibals, people even living today, and they believe that's right. That's what they know.
Try to understand this. Imagine now, we have an opinion, men have an opinion. women are subjugated. Then we ask a woman, are you subjugated? She says no. We say, no, you are subjugated. She says, no, I'm not. You are oppressed. And she says, no, I'm not oppressed. And we say, no, you are oppressed. Do you think this is a good approach?
Even if she wanted to marry him,
hang on.
it doesn't mean it was right.
Sorry, think. If we say to this, if we say to a woman, you are oppressed, and she says, I'm not. And she says, no, you are oppressed. And she says, I'm not. Are we going to force our opinion on her when she's clearly denying it?
Talking snake.
And you say, no, she must be somehow afraid. She's not a free thinker anymore. She's not free anymore. Really?
So you know, one of the best things you can see is he had so many enemies at that time, right? Have they complained about this?
Ever. Until the 18th century.
Yeah. Have they? So this is like a modern
Thank you, brother, for reminding. Has any Christian, any Jew, any agnostic, any atheist, any non-religious person ever complained about the marriage of Prophet ﷺ with Aisha until very recently? This is an open challenge to every Islamophobe. Everyone who wants to taint and put a blemish on the character of the Prophet, find out a reference. Why no one complained? Only recently, when man is marrying man, women marrying women, are thinking having sex with animals, they're complaining now.
It's a Western invention.
Do you see the problem? So the issue of the marriage of the Prophet ﷺ was not an issue at all. Why? Because this was historically acceptable. When a woman becomes a woman, it's fine. Not only that, there are societies, like in India, where it is not even right that a person, a girl, is married and then she sees menstruations later. She has to be a girl before she is entering her husband's home. And she has to willingly die on the fire when her husband dies. This was the normal practice. Now we are saying that's wrong, but this was a practice for hundreds of years. So what we are doing now is called presentism. We are imposing the present standards of morality and imposing on the old, saying it's wrong. When the society accepted it's okay. The kings of England married some, brides who were very young. No one had a problem. No one had a problem.
At that time it was like a norm,
But now people are having a problem. So what I'm saying is rethink. The Prophet didn't command us to go and marry young children. He married this with the consent of the father. In fact, here's the shocking thing. Aisha radiallahu anha, may Allah be pleased with her. Did you know she was already engaged with someone else?
They broke the engagement.
This is the society then. So the father married the daughter off. And we are complaining. So
why
if the father didn't complain, if the wife didn't complain, who are we to complain?
Why didn't David did this, or any other prophet, Moses, or why it's
Do you know how old was Rebecca when she got married? 3 years old. No one will tell you that. No priest will tell you that.
Who's Rebecca?
In the Bible. Rebecca was
wife
married.
of who?
No, Rebecca is a famous individual in the Bible.
Okay, but the wife of who?
Probably David.
No, not David. Isaac. Yeah? No priest will tell you that because he knows the game will be up then.
So she was okay, but when did they consummate the
marriage? No, it's not about consummating.
But
when they married 3 years old, now you ask consummating. You see how now
because this is the problem. Because this is the problem.
If you consummate your marriage when you're adult, do you have a problem?
No. Well, but adult is not 9 or 10.
Wait. Now you're putting an age to it.
And who told you 9?
If someone consummates the marriage when they become adults and they will not be harmed by this consummation, we would not have a problem with that. So when Prophet ﷺ was marrying Aisha radiallahu anha when she was at the age of 6, and she went to his house at the age of 9. Do you see the time difference? 6 and 9. Why? Because this was an engagement, and then she went home when she was at 9. Our scholars say she became an adult. People have a problem now. Oh, how can a 9-year-old
Don't you think that's very convenient?
Yeah, that's presentism. That's presentism. I used to carry a newspaper article with me long time ago. I've given up now. of an English girl, English woman of 9 years, adult, and an English man of 11 years, 10 or 11 years, English man, adult of 11 years, they had a boy, they had a child. In England, it was on the paper. Of course, they were trying to say who's going to support them.
what?
So now, am I going to say it's a boy and a girl? They were adults. Adults.
Well,
but people will
first of
say,
all, he was 10, she was 9. He wasn't 50 and she was 9.
hang on.
That's
When
for
she was 8, gave birth to at 9 or 10. I think she was 8 or 9. Now
it's not
so
very normal. I agree on this.
It's not about normal or not. What we are saying is,
I wouldn't let
you
my
have to
daughter. I have a
question-
daughter. I
Look,
wouldn't let her marry at 8 or 9.
you can have a personal issue of not eating animals and become a vegetarian. I wouldn't have a problem with that. That's you personally. You can have a personal issue of no capital punishment. That's you.
I don't think it's just my personal issue. I
If
think
God
many people have
legislates,
this.
if God legislates and says whoever worships anything other than God, they should be killed, are you going to have a problem with God?
No.
Exactly. But you may not like anyone to be killed. But you'll happily accept that. God's legislation.
But did God legislate that he married?
Yes.
Where?
Prophet didn't do anything other than from the instructions of Allah. Yeah?
So what? How did he die? The prophet.
Okay, bro.
How did,
In US, last 10 years. Look at
more
the
than
statistics.
200,000
poisoned,
children
right?
married in US over the last 15 years.
Child marriage.
200,000
And that's the society now.
Is
you know,
it
so-
in the US where you're getting your
in the
moral
last
from.
15 years.
I'm not saying it's right.
So it's practiced there.
Yeah, and it's wrong.
Practiced.
It's wrong because you say so, right? So
Just my
we-
conscience says it's
No, your conscience is not the arbitrator of
In my
morality or
country,
truth.
people marry at 10.
Sorry. Your conscience is not the arbitrator of truth
Yeah,
or of morality.
it's a personal opinion.
I can have my conscience, which differs from you. It doesn't make it my conscience is the arbitrator of the truth and decides truth for everyone. What I think, what I feel.
Would your conscience let me marry your daughter when I'm 50?
You again speaking
You say it's
emotionally.
no problem.
Emotionally, you're speaking emotionally. If my conscience says men and women should marry only on the age of 40, should we do that?
No, but I'm
No,
asking.
I'm asking this question. Would you agree with me?
No, not me.
No, exactly. So why should I agree with your conscience?
But I'm asking about your conscience.
No, I'm just telling you, your conscience doesn't count. My conscience doesn't count. We can raise it, but it doesn't count. Why? Because our conscience can differ.
Okay.
Do you follow so far? They can differ. They are not arbitrators of truth. God arbitrates the truth. The messengers of God, prophets of God arbitrate the
Messengers
truth.
made mistakes, you know.
You're going
No,
back
not
again.
everything they did.
I cannot accept a prophet and a messenger who's going to make mistake, would you? You wouldn't personally.
Moses made mistake. You agree,
No,
Moses?
that is a lie against the prophets. That is a lie against all the prophets.
If the person who wrote it said that was the
Yes, they lied against the
happened.
prophets.
Who are you to
No,
come?
they
2000
lied
years
against the
later?
prophet. I'll tell you why.
No,
When we compare manuscripts of these books, we see how changes have happened. Corruption has happened. They have
are
corrupted
you
the
saying
book.
the Torah is corrupted?
It has been corrupted for many hundreds of years. It's been a continuous
Where's
process.
the original?